all Tech Jacks here. This is a follow-up video to the video I made about our default client settings and our customized workstation client settings. In that video, we went ahead and we set up some customized settings so that when we push out our automatic deployment for our client to our machines, we'll be able to remote into those devices. If you want to watch the video, I'll have it in the link below. So now that we went through setting up some client settings and we deployed it to all systems right now, because in our environment, in our lab, we don't really have the organizational structure set up to differentiate and filter out where we want to apply these settings. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into actually going ahead and set up the automatic client deployment in our environment. I have a device here called Z that doesn't have a client installed on it. No machine has a client installed on it now. Here's system and security. Our configuration client will show up here once it's actually deployed. In SCCM, we want to go ahead and open up our site configurations and go into sites. In here, we can go ahead and go up to the top of client installation settings. And here you can see the option for client push installations. In this window here, you can see that there's an option to enable automatic site-wide client push installations. This option installs the Configuration Manager client on newly discovered computer resources and on existing computer resources that do not have the client installed. So any machine that is brought into SCCM that fits the criteria of which we've deployed this particular configuration, those machines will get our SCCM Configuration Manager client automatically pushed to them. So what we're going to have to do is configure some settings so that the proper access groups and things like that have access and permissions to install this client on our host machines in our domain. So what I want to go ahead and quickly do is run to our DC so that you guys can see that I already have a group policy set up that gives access to the local corporation admins. I created a group called Local Corp Admins. It's a restricted group, and it creates a group of built-in administrators. And in that group, I've put my CMCP for client push account in that group so that my client will have the ability to be an administrator on the domain devices. And we're going to install our client using that service account. So this service account is a local corp admin. It will be an admin on all the devices. It has specific permissions in Active Directory to do specific things. It doesn't have domain admin privileges. It has some abilities to do some object creation or installations and things like that. So our CM_CP is going to be the account that's being used to install our client. Back in our client push installation properties, we're going to go ahead and click Enable Automatic Site-Wide Client Push Installation. Below, you can see that there are additional options for system types. This allows you to configure if you want to be able to install this automatically on servers, on workstations, or on site system servers. We're going to leave all this stuff default right now because we don't have a need in our environment to modify it. But again, according to your particular environment and any needs that you have, you might want to change these settings. In the Accounts tab, we need to set up the account that will have the ability to install the client. So here, we're going to go ahead and set up a new account. We're going to go ahead and browse, and we're going to go ahead and type in our service account that has access to our local corp admin group. We're going to go ahead and put in the password for that account, and we're going to hit verify. When you hit verify, it's going to give you an ability to do a quick test. So what we want to go ahead and do is we want to input a computer that's on our network. We have our Z machine, and we want to go ahead and see if we can access the admin share on that device. So I'm going to go ahead and admin $. I'm going to do test connection. And it says that the connection was successfully verified. So this account will have the ability to write to the admin share. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and that account has been set. Here for installation properties, we can go ahead and put certain criteria and information that will allow for our client to point our newly pushed client to the proper management point, distribution points. You can set cache sizes and all types of things in this particular variable. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that my PS1 is set. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it knows that it's going to use my CM01. I'm going to go ahead and click apply here and OK. And that's it. That's it for that. We should be fine now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and put a, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and put CM trace on Z before we do an actual test. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we get the CM trace over. So let's make sure it's available. I do have a network share that I believe I got it right there. Yeah, good. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and copy it to the desktop. Make this the default viewer for logs. I don't have any logs right now. Go to C Windows. Okay. And let's see. We're going to go ahead and go over to Assets and Compliance. We're going to go to Z. Z only has residuals. I'm going to delete both of these folders. So there's nothing there. CM trace is open. There's nothing there. And we have no client. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is in our asset and compliance, I'm going to find our device for Z. I'm going to go ahead and click install client. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to install. So I'm going to just always install the client on software. This is for domain controllers at the top, so I'm not doing it on domain controller right now. And I'm going to go ahead and install the client software from a specified site, which is our TechJack's headquarters. I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and hit close. And back on our Z machine, as you can see, CCM setup just appeared. It just appeared. Me messing around with this, it shouldn't really break anything. I hope not. But I'm going to go ahead and open up the logs folder. It's letting us know that it doesn't have specific access to EXEs for redistributables, but that's fine. It's going to download everything that we need. As you can see, it's going through, it's pulling up the site version, it's downloading via bits, it's copying over all its prerequisites like Silverlight, and we have an option of installing the endpoint protection, the client MSI. It's installing Silverlight now with the quiet option. So I'm going to go ahead and let this finish installing. Give it a couple of minutes and check back in. All right, we're back. It says that it exited with a code 0, which usually means that it was successful. There's also a indicator that the client MSI installation succeeded. So let's go ahead and go to our control panel. And our configuration manager client looks like it's installed. We can go ahead and run some machine policy retrieval and evaluation cycle and the user policy retrieval and evaluation cycle so that it can pull down all its policies. that particular log that we were looking at, we no longer need to view that in our CCM folder, in our logs folder. We should start to see more populated logs popping up. If we go back to SCCM 2012, it might be too fast. Let's go ahead and hit a refresh and see for our devices if it's saying that a client is now installed on there. Zed is reporting that a client is now installed. Let's see if we can go ahead and do a remote control. It says a remote control session could not be established with the remote computer. Possibly causes for this includes the system is turned off. But we're going to assume that the option is not yet set because it's still getting its policies. So let's go ahead and give it a minute. I am moving pretty quickly. You want it to sync up and get all the policies and the procedures from the client. And that can take about, 2 minutes or whatever. So we can keep on checking. Okay, it looks like it took. We're connected to our host. And there you go. We have remote control, remote screen sharing capabilities on this device now. So with the last video on the client configuration, the client setting configuration, and this video about the automatic client push, we were able to push a automatic client to our machine. And again, even though that I manually initiated that by right-clicking here and clicking Install Client, this will take place for the rest of the machines that I add to SCCM going forward, and it will push the client onto them. And those clients, as long as they're getting that workstation default client setting policy, they will be able to be remotely controlled, like the machine that I just demonstrated. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you guys have questions, please let me know. I hope I covered everything and I didn't miss anything. I'll also link to Technet for you guys and any known resources that you can use to help you with this. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm going to go ahead and make some more videos now. Thank you.